Hello, hope you're doing well. This is Tommy with Outrider USA, here with the Outrider Horizon today. This is our Horizon with the adaptive tri-pin hand controls. Just going to give you an overview of this bike and what it's built for. And there's also our Coyote video with tri-pins that recently was released. You can check that out. There's a lot of similarities between these two machines, but today we're going to talk about the Horizon and what makes it unique. Kind of zooming back a little bit to the origin of this machine, it started around 2014 when we had a fellow reach out to us from Tucson, Arizona named Chris, and he had developed these special hand controls that he could ride as a quadriplegic rider with these special adaptive inputs and head switches. And fast forward to 6 years later, and we've brought this kind of design to production. We've been building these for about 5 years now. There's a few years of development, and this is now a 4th generation Horizon with tri-pin controls. So I'm going to walk through some of the details and what this bike's for. The overarching idea with Outrider is that we build bikes that get you back out there again. Some folks that might be on the road, others that might be off-road, or a mix of the two. But our real specialty is building bikes that have specific technology for individuals who need special adaptations from an accident or a diagnosis, quadriplegia, paraplegia, ALS, strokes, you name it. We can kind of adapt to make it work and get you out riding again on one of our platforms, whether it's the Horizon or the Coyote or another. The Horizon, the premise behind it is it's our off-road 3-wheel full suspension platform. 2 wheels up front, 1 in the back. It is set up with this setup with the tri-pin hand controls. It allows you with little or no hand function to be able to operate the machine. A lot of our riders only have a little bit of shoulder function and maybe a little bit of tricep or a little bit of bicep function, but no wrist or hand function. And these controls make it possible to ride with little to no hand function, which is awesome. And keep up with your friends on bikes and be able to ride again on a bike, or go hiking with your family, or whatever you want to do outside off the beaten path. The Horizon is designed to be able to take you there and get back out there again. So that's the idea with the Horizon. We're going to zoom in a little bit and give you some close-ups with some of the details of this machine and give you a better understanding of how it's made and how to use it. So of course with the Horizon, it's a 3-wheel platform, as I mentioned. The heart of this, though, on this setup that we want to talk about is these tri-pin controls. So we'll check those out first. The tri-pins are built out of a multi-layer stack of CNC'd aluminum components that allow someone to, with minimal hand function, be able to steer the machine by pushing forward and back, to apply throttle by rocking the hand back, and to apply brake by rocking the hand forward. This machine in particular is set up with both brakes on the left hand control. So if we go over here, you'll see as I rock forward on this, that applies both front brakes. These are hydraulic brakes, but they're cable actuated hydraulics. So that one brake controls both front brakes, and I can also steer on this side, of course. But typical operation is you've got both hands here steering. You're going to throttle with that right hand and apply brakes on this one with the left. The most common setup for this is to have brakes independent. So this left hand would control just this left front wheel, and the right hand would control just that right front wheel. And then the throttle can be set up to either be on the right side or to be on the left side. So it's very adaptable in that regard. This even could be used in a single-handed configuration in certain circumstances. That's the essence of the controls. It gives you the ability to steer, to brake, and to throttle with no hand function. Also, we've got these wrist straps here that allow you to get locked in a little better, so that you don't have to be able to keep your wrist rigid as you're applying that brake. Just as you lift your arm, it's going to apply the brake. So that's what's very unique about these controls. Also, down below here, you'll see there's a dedicated parking brake that runs off a separate braking system that controls this mechanical brake up here. So that makes it easier to transfer on and off of the machine. Keeps it planted as you're transferring on and off. A lot easier to get on and off and not worry about the bike moving on you. Up top, another unique aspect of the tri-pin controls is these head switches. So this left switch, if you hit it, it's going to arm the unit or disarm the unit. So it's kind of like your arm switch or your kill switch for the motor. If you hit that button, it arms the unit, but of course it's not going to go anywhere until you apply throttle. So to apply throttle, you're going to rock that back. And then on this head switch, you swing over, you hit that, and that'll apply reverse. Then you hit it again. If you were, for instance, had an arm spasm or something like that and you're holding full throttle, you could swing your head over and hit that switch, and that's going to kill the motor even though you're continuing to apply throttle. So a nice safety feature there. Also, with power and speed limits, it's fully programmable. So when we send these machines out at first, typically they're limited to about 7 miles an hour in low power mode, 11 miles an hour in medium power mode, and 20 miles an hour in high power mode. And you control that up here on the display. So you press and hold the left button and toggle with the right. That takes you between low, medium, and high power mode. And you can actually go into each of those modes. So we're in high power mode right now. And you could actually go in there if you want, and you could turn down the speed limit or turn up the speed limit a little bit. You can also control the power limits as well. So if you live in a super hilly area where you want to have lots of torque to climb hills, but you don't necessarily want to do 20 miles an hour, you could turn your power the whole way up to 2200 watts of power, but you could limit your speed to say 8 miles an hour or 10 miles an hour if you want to keep your speed down. Or if somebody's getting on for the first time and you want to just be extra careful, you can turn that speed down even to as low as 3 miles an hour if you want to, and that'll really put a nice cap on it. Works great for young guys riding it too. Anyone that's not as inclined to this kind of machine, you can kind of set it to the skill level and make those adjustments so you're not married to that power or speed setting. Also, lots of other functionality in this unit as well that I'm not going to go into. After you set your settings, you'll get that beep. That just tells you to reset the machine. And once it's powered off for about 5 seconds, you can power it back on again. And now it's saved those settings so you can get the exact speed, power, limits, and know exactly what you're going to get as far as performance goes. Also on this display, of course, you get your speed readout. You get your state of charge indicator, how much power you're getting from the motor, how far you've traveled. And there's a whole lot of other super nerdy information that I'm not going to get into too much right now. But lots of capability on that unit. Gives you a lot of flexibility on what you can do. While we're still talking about the tri-pin aspect of this, we've got this leg support here that's adjustable forward and back. Allows you to get the perfect position for your legs and strap your legs in for leg stability. We've got, this one has the lap belt option on it from Body Point, adjustable lap belt, and also adjustable chest belt option. Got the Roho air cushion on it so that when you're spending a long time in the saddle, it's going to minimize any chances for any kind of pressure sores or anything like that. This one also has side bolsters for more lateral stability. There's a release over here on the side. Press that red button, slide it to the side. Makes transferring in easier. So if you're transferring in from this right side, you can hit this quick release here, fold the bar down, get it out of the way. Transfer in from the side, this folded out of the way. Once you're in, swing the side in, and then move that to your position. Move this tri-pin control up to where you want it. Lock it in, and then you're good to go. So lots of restraints on it, so you're super stable and comfortable in the seat. And that's really, as far as what's unique to the tri-pin, those are the main components. The hand controls, the head switch assemblies, the leg support, the Roho, and then these different Body Point straps, as well as these lateral supports that can hinge out of the way. Also, with these head switches, what's great about these is they're safety switches in that if you were riding off-road, and of course we're always wearing a full face helmet when we're riding, and if you hit bumps and you slam these hard, they will hinge out of the way. But what's also awesome about these articulating arms is you can move these to the exact position you want. If you're a taller person, you can get them up high, or if you're sitting more forward in the seat, or you're shorter, you can move them down low and get them just to where you want it. And then you lock it down here. And then once you get it in position, you get it locked down. It's super solid, so you can hit that switch, no problem. And it's gonna stay exactly where you want it. But again, it has the safety element of if you slam into that switch, it's gonna move out of the way to make sure it's keeping you safe. On the back, this one has a cargo rack option. This is great if you want to carry water. I know body temperature is really important for folks, especially quads if they're out riding for long periods of time in hot weather. We have insulated bags we can put back here with a camelback bladder, and then you can fill that with ice or cooler, cold packs. Keep that water super cold, run it up through the nozzle, the hydration pack, and stay nice and cool as you're out riding. Coming to the back, this one has the fat tire option, the high volume tire. It gives you better hookup off-road with the super wide rim. Also, currently for all of our Horizons, we use our proprietary mid-drive electric drive system. A lot of e-bikes out there these days are using motors that are mounted in the crankset at the front of the unit with the pedals. Others use hub motors. But with ours, this mid-drive system, it's an American-made motor, super high quality in a German gearbox, and this motor is incredibly powerful, and it's geared down through a deep gear reduction to give you tons of torque at startup, so you can start from a complete stop on the steepest of hills with no problem, plenty of torque. This system is also super efficient, run at high power levels for long periods of time. It's maintenance free, and it's just a really excellent system to have an American-made electric drive system on a machine like this instead of a Chinese hub motor or some alternative. It's a really great system. We've been developing this over the course of about 12 years now, so it's got a lot of R&D into it. Also coming around this side, we talked about the motor. One of the showcase things about the Outriders in general is this structural aluminum battery enclosure. So this large center section of the frame serves a few different purposes. One, it's a frame member for the bike, so it actually is what the rear end, the front end, the seat, and all the hard points mount to. Also, it's the enclosure for all your batteries, the lithium batteries. It's totally sealed, and allows you to carry because of the fact that you don't have a center frame spar and battery packs mounted to the side of it. They're integrated within the frame, which keeps your center of gravity super low for great stability. It's also totally sealed, so your batteries are completely sealed within the frame from water, from snow, from dirt, from dust, from whatever. So you don't have to worry about any of your electronics with any kind of liquid or snow or elements. Also within this, we've built in the high-speed onboard battery charger. It's a 1,000-watt charger standard, super fast charger. Typical e-bike charger is about 250 watts. This is 1,000 watts. You can't see it, it's built into the unit, but the AC inlet is right here. Just a normal cord that you can get at any hardware store that comes with the unit. It plugs in there, so you don't have to worry about protecting some separate specialty charger that you want to make sure you don't step on or lose or smash or damage a cord or whatever. It's all protected within this aluminum enclosure, and it's super efficient, and it heat sinks out to this aluminum enclosure, and it works just wonderfully. One of the very unique aspects of the Outrider is that because of this enclosure being the design that it is, we have a massive amount of internal volume there for lithium battery packs. So a standard machine will come with one pack, which is 1,500 watt hours or 1.5 kilowatt hours, but it has 4 battery bays, so you can hold up to 4 packs in total. And that would be 6 kilowatt hours or 6,000 watt hours. And for comparison's sake, typical e-bike battery is 500 to 750 watt hours, or call it half a kilowatt hour. So with the largest pack that you can get on the Outrider at 6,000 watt hours, that really gives you a perspective on just how much power that is and how much range that is compared to your typical 500 watt hour battery. It's 12 times as much, so it's pretty amazing. But even in the standard configuration with just one pack, you're getting a pack that's anywhere from 2 to 3 times the industry standard. So that's a huge advantage. It means your battery is going to last much longer, have a lot longer lifespan over the course of the vehicle's life, and also a lot more range per charge. So in off-road conditions, typically with the Horizon, we'll see anywhere from 15 to about 30 miles per pack, depending on how hard you're riding. And if you go to 2 packs, of course, it's going to double that. So it's going to go to 30 to 60 miles. And if you did all 4 packs, it'd go 60 to 120 miles of range on charge. And we're very conservative in those numbers. Folks can definitely see more, but we like to estimate them based on the fact that most people are going to ride it hard. They're not going to ride it like they're trying to set some eco marathon record or something like that. So lots of battery power, and that's of course what's made an internal combustion engine so effective for so long, is how much energy you can carry on board in a gallon of gas or 10 gallons of gas. Same principle with electric vehicles, same reason why Tesla has really dominated the market. It's those super energy dense battery packs, 100 kilowatt hours plus. This is up to 6 kilowatt hours on this lightweight efficient chassis, means that it goes much more distance before it needs a charge, which means you can ride all day and not have to worry about trying to find a plug, which is what you want. You don't want to be worrying about where you're going to find your next charge point. So huge advantage for these platforms. So that's all in here. Also, as I said, the charger's here. Underneath that, you can't see it, but built into this is our electronics cartridge. Rather than building something to where we've got all these different electronic components that are molded into the assembly that you can never service or replace or upgrade, we've designed everything into a tray cartridge that mounts from underneath and is easily removable, so that if you ever wanted to upgrade or make modifications or service or modernize it or whatever, that whole cartridge comes out as a unit, and you can hot swap it with another cartridge. So that means all the brains and the guts of the system are easily accessible and swappable, so that you don't have some crazy proprietary machine that nobody can work on. And that's been a product of this now being the 4th generation. We've made a lot of little iterations to improve user service, support, modularity. We want this to be as open source and modular a vehicle as possible. So someone that gets a 3-wheel bike and might want to turn it into a 4-wheeled Coyote can do that with this removable rear end. Or if you wanted to go to 4-wheel drive or front-wheel drive or whatever, this platform can do it. It's very adaptable. It kind of has a Lego concept about it in the way it was designed. That means you can adapt it to really work for you, rather than having some cookie cutter machine that only does one thing. So we've worked really hard to make sure that we're future-proofing in the way that we design these units, and we're not making something that when we release the next model year is going to suddenly be obsolete. So that's super important to us from a design standpoint. Coming up to the front, you may have seen it in the other videos, but one thing that really sets apart this platform is this front suspension. We've got a full short long arm A-arm suspension with a sway bar, anti-sway bar, depending on what you like to call it. It's got adjustable air shocks here that you can adjust the pressure in for different rider weights. This is a mountain bike style air shock, really high quality. And you've also got the sway bar, so it's going to minimize any kind of leaning as you're going around corners, just like you would expect in a car, a full-size truck, side-by-sides. They all have sway bars. Yep, so that sway bar will keep you super stable through those corners, nice and level on the machine. But overall, the highlight of the suspension is that it just keeps you really isolated from all the bumps, all the vibrations, all the hits that you're going to experience as you're rolling over terrain off-road. This air suspension does just a really great job of isolating the rider from those bumps. On the rear, we've also got air suspension. This is about 5.5 inches of travel on the rear with this air shock. Single pivot, nice and simple rear suspension, works great. You can also tune the rear air shock suspension as well, with just adjusting that air pressure for different rider weights. Cool, so that kind of goes over a little bit about the basics on that suspension system. One thing I failed to mention is that with these disc brakes, the tri-pins now are coming standard with a 200mm disc brake up front. for even more stopping power with less braking force, which is great for riders that have a little bit of reduced strength to apply those brakes. Also, again, these are hydraulic brakes, but they're activated with a cable, so they're really unique in that they're easy to adjust, but they've got the advantage of the leverage of those hydraulic brakes. On the seat and the setup for the rider, we've got adjustment for tilt in the back here. If someone wants to sit more upright, you can pull these pins here, and you have multiple different positions. You can set the seat for the recline. Also, if you prefer to be more forward on the unit, we've got a slider here to adjust the machine forward and back on the slide. If you want more weight forward over the front wheels, or if you want more over that back wheel, you can do that with that seat slider. You've also got adjustment here for your leg position. So you loosen those two bolts, slide the boom out or in for different leg positions. And then you also got adjustment here for your legs. You can adjust your foot position as well to maximize blood flow down to your feet. You can get that perfect angle for your ankle and your foot to get that tuned in right for where you enjoy riding. All right, so the last thing I think we'll talk about with this is fenders. The rear fender is standard on this. The front fender is optional. Typically with tri-pin controls, we don't do a front fender because it kind of gets in the way a little bit for the transfer, but there's workarounds for everything. If that's what you prefer, we can definitely do that. That's no problem. This has a headlight option on it, 900 lumen LED headlights, nice and bright. And it's also got the high visibility LED whip in the rear. So regardless of what angle you're at around the machine, you're going to be able to see the bike really well from all angles with this 360-degree safety visibility whip. So that's a really nice feature. Yeah, that really wraps up most of the detail of this. We're going to be moving outside here in a moment and taking this unit for a spin so you can check out what it's all about. Sweet. All right, so let's get this thing spooled up. You can hear the motor running. This awesome American-made motor with the super beautiful German gearbox. Get to hear it running full output on the bench. It's a totally unique sound, and that's because we've got a 12,000 RPM electric motor there. That's what allows us to squeeze so much performance out of such a small package, is that super high RPM electric motor. So check it out. Outrider Horizon, 2.2 kilowatt hours on this battery pack, and 2 kilowatts of power on this setup as it is right now. So make sure we're in forward gear here. Here's reverse. All right, sweet. All right, so we're gonna get a little evening ride in here. You can see the bike's lighting with the whip in the back and the LED headlight, and get an idea of what this machine looks running around in the evening around the neighborhood. So check it out.
Hold on. Nora! She's back there. There she is. For that curve there, yeah. Nora! So fast.
Anything else you want to get?
We go back out in that green patch again just one more time.
Think there's enough light?
Yeah, it looked really cool.
Which green patch?
The big one that's on the top of the hill, around where we lost Nora.
Yeah, let's just put her inside there. Can you jump and put her in real quick?
I mean, I think she'll be good. She came right out once we went
What
back.
green patch do you mean?
Here, follow me. I think she'll be okay.
It's not close to the main road?
No. No.
Okay. Good girl. Let's go.
Looks really good. We gotta swing a left into here.
There we go.
Go for it. And bring her back around.